Hello, my name's Andy, and I hope you're enjoying the summer storm. And I'd like to tell you a story. And this story is associated with Chester. Now, it's only recently that I realised that Chester and Chester Cathedral is associated with a saint called St. Werburgh. And if you want to see St. Werburgh, you'll see it outside the cathedral. There's a large plinth with 6 saints on. On one of them is St. Werburgh. She's got long skirts on, and there at the bottom of the skirts, peeking out, is a little goose. And if you go into the cathedral itself and into the choir stalls, there in the misericords, one of them is dedicated to St. Werburgh. And once again, there's geese carved on. So, why would a saint be associated with a goose? Well, for that, I'll have to tell you a story. And to tell this story, we've got to go back in time, way, way back, over 1,000 years and into the 600s. And then England was divided into different kingdoms. Up in the north, you had Northumbria, southwest, you had Wessex, over there, you had East Anglia, and in the centre, you had Mercia. And they were always fighting one another. And in Mercia was ruled by a king called Wulfhere. Now, he had a daughter, and her name was Werburgh. Oh, she was a saintly child, she was a beautiful, kind child. And as she grew up, she saw all was going, all the fighting and all the misery it caused, and how people were going hungry and losing their husbands and fathers. So she decided she didn't want to be a princess anymore. So one day, she went in and saw her father and told him what her thoughts were. I don't want to be a princess. Well, her father had a problem, didn't he? Because prince daughters were very useful. He'd use them to make alliances so he'd get more power. But at this time, Christianity was coming into the country, and Wulfhere was the first Christian Mercian king. And his sister-in-law was a nun over in East Anglia. So he thought, she'd become a nun and that would be useful. So he said to her, well, you can become a nun. So Werburgh became a nun. She packed her travelling bag and travelled over to East Anglia and met her auntie, Etheldrea. And her auntie Etheldrea taught all the ways of being a nun. For all the different parts of the nunnery was used for, how to put your hands together and pray, and also taught her how to farm, because in those days the nunneries and the monasteries, they grew food for the people who lived there and the people about. And oh, Werburgh, she loved farming, she loved being out in nature. And one day she was out in the fields, and she looked at the fields and you could see all the hard work that everyone had done, all the stones that had been moved, all the weeds, all the brambles, how they dug all the hard soil, turned it over, and now there's a beautiful tilth just ready for seeds to be put in. She went back to the nunnery, went into one of the barns and got a basket of seeds. Took the seeds into the chapel, put him on the altar with a beautiful cloth with precious stones in, knelt down, put her hands together and prayed to God. And she asked God to bless every single seed in that basket so that each one could grow to its full potential. And then she took the basket, went out onto the land and started to sow the seeds very carefully so that each one can grow up nice and strong. And as she was doing so, she heard a sound. She heard a sound in the air. Oh, it must have God's creatures. She loved God's creatures. And she looked up, and there was a group of geese flying over, and her heart lifted up. She loved geese. But then, when she saw where the geese were headed, her heart, it dropped like a stone, because those geese weren't flying over, oh no, they were heading straight for the fields, and before she knew it, they were pecking all the seeds. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen, it wasn't. what was she to do? Well, she remembered. She remembered the stories that Auntie had told her about how saints could talk to animals. You know, how St. Patrick talked to the snakes in Ireland. So she rounded all the geese, put them in her pen, closed the gate, and said to them, "Look, I'm really angry with you. These seeds aren't for you. These seeds are for the people so they can grow up into corn and we can make bread so they won't be hungry anymore. I'm going to keep you in this pen until tomorrow morning, and if you promise not to peck the seeds anymore, I'll let you go." And then she finished what she was doing and then went back to the nunnery. But next morning, she got bright and early, and good as her word, she went straight back to the geese, opened the gate, and allowed them to fly off. But they didn't fly off. They were really angry with her. They were hissing, flapping their wings and trying to peck her. They were really angry. She couldn't work it out what was going on. And then she looked very closely, and then she realised one of them was missing. Now she had her suspicions. She closed the gate and she marched off as fast as she could to the nunnery and went straight into the kitchen, and yes, she could smell goose stew. And there, sitting on a table, was a guilty group of servants, but with a kind of satisfied glow from having the first tasty meal in a long time. I mean, what was she to do? I mean, you can see the irony in the situation. On the one hand, here was a group of geese eating something they weren't supposed to eat, and here were a group of servants also eating something they weren't supposed to eat. What was she to do? Well, she did what she did best. She went into the chapel, knelt down, put her hands together, and prayed to God. Now, I don't know if she prayed for a miracle or not. I don't. All I know is that a miracle happened. Because afterwards, she went straight back into the kitchen. She gathered all the bits of goose that hadn't been eaten, all the feathers, all the bones, all the bits of gristle, brought them all together, and boom, the goose came back to life. And then she took the goose back to the other geese. They were pleased to see it, and then they flew off, never to return to the fields to peck the seeds again. And Werburgh, she went about the country doing good work, setting up other nunneries. Oh, and everybody loved Werburgh. And when she died, she was buried in Mercia in a place called Hambury. And it wasn't long after that she became a saint. But what is she doing associated with Chester? Hambury and Chester is a long distance for one another. Well, for that part of the story, we've got to come forward 300 years to the early 900s, when Mercia had a fighting princess, Freya, sometimes known as Lady of the Mercians, and she would lead her men into battle. And she was fighting the Danes, and if frightened they'd come up to Hambury and desecrate the grave. So she left the bones moved up to Chester, which she had refortified and put in a church called St. Peter and St. Paul. And in the 11th century, when the Benedictine monks came to Chester to set up a monastery, they used that site and dedicated to St. Werburgh. So when we're allowed to travel around and go to Chester, have a look at the plinth outside, spot St. Werburgh, look for a goose, and then you can then tell the story of St. Werburgh and the goose. Thanks for listening. Bye.